Hello, right, in this video I am going to chat you through the markers and how I think is best to steer the Tideway Head Championship course from Mortlake to Putney. So my name is Kieran. I did live and work and coach on the Tideway for 14 years. I've coached either the overall winner or at the very least the high placing and pennant winner in I think every Tideway race except the boat race, which goes the other way. So I think I have a good understanding, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. So overall, my main two things to advise if you're a visiting crew: don't try and game it too much and find what people deem the absolute fastest water. Just aim to stay in the middle as much as you can, because as soon as you start trying to get it perfect to within a boat width, you're probably going to end up rowing worse, or obviously if you're coxing, it's going to be a different story. The other thing I would say is that your exit route from every bridge is more important than your entry route, your entry direction. So let's get into it. Okay, so this is a video that I have filmed from the launch. So I tried to put the launch on where I think is the fastest racing line. Okay, so as we're swinging round, we're going to line up with Chiswick Bridge. Nice easy point here is use the two lights in the middle as the marker. You will notice that I'm slightly to bow side, and then again that ties into what I was just saying of how you exit Chiswick Bridge is more important than how you enter. Okay, so you want to be pointing your bows just slightly to stroke side just as you come out of this corner. So I filmed this video about half tide, so you can see where all the shallow bits are starting to appear. So there's much more shallow water on the far side, so on your right hand side if you're coxing. So as you come in here, the first marker you're going to come up to really is these two navigation buoys. So there's one on the right here, a red one, and then there is one on the left somewhere here, a green one. So this is the crossing point. So you don't want to be anywhere near that red one on the far side, on your right if you're coxing, or your left if you're steering. You want to just gradually, really smoothly go around this corner. So you don't want to be too close to that green navigation buoy. Because the river's so wide and the bends mostly are quite windy and not too sharp, you don't ever want to think about jamming the rudder on. You want to take these bends just really nice and smoothly. Okay, so as you get to here, so in front here you can see this building with the white balconies. That's called the White Hart. That's kind of the next thing that you want to be lining up for. So it feels like it's one big winding bend, but this point here is you're kind of going a little bit more straight than you are steering. So as you're coming around the corner here, obviously that view of Barnes Bridge just starts to open up. So you want to keep heading kind of towards the White Hart, so you can kind of see that's just starting to go a little bit off centre now. And this is the point where, again, you want to be thinking about trying to line up for Barnes Bridge. So you can see this next navigation buoy here, this green one just appearing. So if I just pause it here, so if you were steering straight for that middle arch here, you're going into shallower water, which is going to be slower, and you're then putting yourself at risk of hitting this green navigation buoy, which hopefully you can see, which is just in the middle there. So you want to stay out. Don't be tempted to turn in too early. Once we're out going around here, this is when we're going to start lining up for Barnes Bridge. So really key thing with Barnes is that where the buttresses face is not the way the river goes, okay? So the buttresses want to push you out more. So if you look ahead through the bridge, the way they line up is that they want to push you out and direct you over to that real big bank, real shallow water over there. So don't be tempted to follow the bridge. Don't follow the buttresses. And this is the most important one, where you want to think about your direction at the exit of the bridge. Okay, so you can see just coming over here more onto that stroke side of the bridge, and here you can see, look how pronounced that is of where those buttresses are going to try and direct you. So really reinforce that, don't follow them. So as you're turning through here, you can see now there's the lights in the middle, and you're just starting to kind of gradually take this bend. So this is a really good view. There's quite a lot of shallow water around here in general, but here, just on the barn side, as in where the town is, the village, that's really shallow. You want to avoid going onto that side at all costs, okay? So we're just going to start to line up here. So this is kind of where during the race, particularly if you're towards the back, things are going to be quite quiet. There'll probably be fewer marshalling crews. This is where down here you just want to stay over to your stroke side of centre. Just kind of chat you through this as we're going down. There's another navigation buoy here, a green one. So this is the next crossing point. Again, don't want to be right next to that. Maybe aim to be kind of 2 or 3 boat widths out. So again, you can see here, shallows here, bank, not so much over that side. So it does get very, very shallow here. So anywhere where there's more bank, there's less water, and generally there's a little bit less stream. So we're lining up here now towards Chiswick Pier. I'm just going to skip a little bit. So again, you can see that next navigation buoy. Again, not too close to it, but not too far over to the bow side either. So this is about where you want to be. So you'll be lining up more. So this is Chiswick Pier here where all these boats are moored. You want to be lining up towards that. And now you want to try and stay more towards the Chiswick Pier side of the river as you're coming down. Don't be tempted to cut this corner. This is a little bit deceiving where we are now because you've got the pier and you've got Chiswick here, and what you need to remember is that particularly at higher tides they make you think that the channel, well I guess the channel that it is still in the centre, but there is still water flowing behind Chiswick Pier and behind Chiswick. So you want to be over closer to them than maybe you think and maybe the river would suggest, particularly when you're at that higher tide. So yeah, not cutting it too close. We don't want to be right over there next to them, but just not taking that corner too tight either. So again, just coming smoothly around here, so that you want to be around that, this close to the boats. I believe at the moment there's a couple of larger boats moored here. And then down this part here is where you want to just start trying to line up for a good, decent kind of straight bit as we come down Chiswick. So we're just coming up to the halfway point at this stage. So this is a good time to kind of have a bit of reconsolidation, a bit of a reset. And then, you know, this is a nice consistent, hopefully, depending on where crews are overtaking or not. So we're just coming up to the blue doors here. So if I pause it, I think hopefully you can see my mouse, but this building here, they're more blue windows, okay, but this is the halfway point. So from my notes here, yeah, this is when we're 3,127 meters into the race. So just passing the halfway point now. Again, just kind of take this corner nice and smooth, not cutting too far. You don't want to be over this side on your bow side, because again, that's where the slower water is going to be. And then there's also navigation buoys coming up just before Hammersmith Bridge. So we will kind of, yeah, stay out here. So the kind of key marker here really is that second lamppost. The second lamppost isn't, in my opinion, quite as important going this way down the championship course as it is when you're coming the other way, say in the boat race or the Wingfield Sculls, or sometimes when the races run the other way. But this is, yeah, you now want to be kind of hitting this between the central, so the central lamppost is there and that second lamppost is there. So kind of anywhere in this region right now is going to be okay. Again, the exit direction, the exit point is going to be much more important. Okay, so you can see here I have got under the second lamppost. This is where we're getting out towards kind of the Fulham Flats, as they are notoriously known. So again, super shallow water here, particularly as the race is running and the tide's getting lower down. You do not want to be anywhere near those. Going over to that side now, to your stroke side, is going to be a very bad move in terms of boat speed. In terms of pacing the race, this is quite often where it's won and lost. If you look at the breakdowns of for the races that give markers, you usually go to Barnes and then to Hammersmith. Quite often this is where things are changing around a lot, and you can see the crews that have planned their race properly are the ones that are able to either maintain pace or push on from here. So just coming around here, we're just starting to line up towards Harrods. So once we get to Harrods, we're about 2k to go. So that takes you to 4,421. So once you line up towards Harrods, so once you're lining up past Harrods, again, use these navigation buoys as a little bit of a guide. So you kind of see we're coming up to this navigation buoy here at the Harrods wall. Again, you want to be a couple of boat widths out from that. Again, nowhere near over here at Fulham Reach Boat Club. Or maybe we already went past that. You don't want to be anywhere near that side. Okay, so yeah, stay parallel with the wall. The wall's quite a good guide here. If you feel like that wall is getting closer to you, that's because the corner comes out and you're going to start to turn towards your bow side. If you feel like you're converging with that wall, you're probably coming in a little bit too tight. And you can see here as we're lining up for this next corner, you do not want to be too close over to there. So kind of as we're getting to here, physiologically, this is when we're starting to get to that point of the race where, you know, we're either pushing on for the finish or the pace that you've been maintaining is starting to feel quite difficult. So this is where, especially if you're foot steering, mistakes are more likely to be made. So I think here is, you know, as long as you're just not going over towards the Fulham flats is really the key thing. And just as you start to line up around here, down just towards Barn Elms, this is kind of another bit where you shouldn't really need to do too much steering. You can kind of see how it opens up here as you come around the bend. And now we're getting to that point where we can just get a good, you know, 2-3 minutes of just consistent rowing in. So you can see we're just lining up here for that next navigation buoy. It looks like it's quite far out from the bank, but that's kind of just the angle that you're on at the moment. So you want to just try and line up with that and try and go as straight as you possibly can, just down to that next bit towards Barn Elms. Okay, switching to the maps view, because apparently that full video didn't download, but this was supposed to be a quick run through. So where I've just left you on the video, that's picked up to here to around Barnes, where Barn Elms Rowing Club is. So you can see the bit we've just been down here on the map, as I was describing, is quite a straight bit. You can also see on the satellite view how much shallow water there is around that side. So again, this really shows, compared to what will be your stroke side, how important it is to just maintain that line around there. Once we get round to Craven Cottage, around that bend, where again you want to stay on the outside close to that navigation buoy, we're kind of again into another straight bit. What you're going to find here is that the tide is going to push you over. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to zoom in too much. Is the tide is going to try and push you out, and that's where, again, one of the notorious parts of the Tideway is that black buoy. So you just want to make sure that as you're coming around here, you're going to start getting pushed towards those first couple of moored boats. Ideally, you want to be kind of just a couple of boat widths out from that whole line, so that you'll have the kind of the black buoy, a couple of other things, and then just some moored boats along the Putney embankment. Again, you just want to make sure we're not going out too close to that Fulham side of the river, which is going to be on your stroke side. Stay more over to the bow side. And what you want to find is that, like, as you're coming down the line of boats there, that's when we're going to be getting into that kind of finishing rhythm and starting to really push on towards that finish line. Again, you want to be trying to do as little steering as you can down there, just little and off, a little bit quite often, but just this is the point where there's going to be a bit more wash from returning crews. There'll probably be more marshals around. You might hit a bit of wake or wash here and there, but it's just really important to really just maintain that line. And that's going to kind of take you into that last bit down towards the finish line, which is at the pier just before the bridge. That's going to take you through, obviously, once you wind down, just make sure you're staying safe, because you've got Putney Bridge and then the railway bridge to deal with usually before you can spin. So that's it. That's the full 6,865 meters of the race. Hope that's useful. As I said, this was kind of aimed a little bit more at visiting crews. Thanks for watching to the end if you've made it this far. If you have any further questions, I'm going to pop this up on YouTube now. Just if you pop them in the comment section, just so that if there's a question that everybody might have, I can just answer it once, and then that can be for the benefit of who else is watching this video. So thanks a lot. Best of luck for whatever Tideway head you're racing, and yeah, have a good one.